Hey everybody, Dawn Zoldai here. Welcome back to your Dawn of Drones podcast. We are rounding out an incredible month that we've dedicated to this idea of the future of flight. And when you think about the future of flight and the global nature of it and the groundbreaking nature of it, there's no better person to end this month with than Umoh, who is the CEO, co-founder of Global Air Media. The funny thing about Eno is the first time I met him, I don't know if you remember this. It was like drone safety day a couple years ago. And I
Yeah.
got this call from the FAA like, oh, we're going to do a live stream on Instagram. You're going to be on with the FAA administrator. At the time, it was like Steve
Steve. Mhm.
Dickinson, and they're like Umoh, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like such a rock star. I get to be on. Oh, and Kevin Mars, the drone guy. And
Yep.
I don't know if you remember, but like my like cell phone connectivity just died
Yeah.
like 2
Yeah.
seconds in. And I was like, "Here's my 15 minutes of fame. It's gone." But that's the first time I saw you, and I had heard so much about you. It's such an honor to have you on the show. And by the way, everybody, Eno is on the show as a guest of Volatus Aerospace as an Above and Beyond series guest. So thankful for them for sponsoring folks like Eno to be on the show. But look, for those that don't know you, I don't know how they could possibly not know you. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Don, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here, as well. I've watched and heard, over the years and seen so many, people come and you interview and just kind of push that narrative forward. So yeah, it is great to be here. About myself, I, got into the industry in 2015, after just not being happy with where I was in my career. I was formerly in construction and project management. And I just wanted to do something different. And I'll never forget, I was in Nigeria. My father's Nigerian, family's from there. And I saw a drone being used in 2015 to film like an outdoor event in a very, rural, remote part of Nigeria. And I said to myself, wow, man, this technology is being used here now. This is absolutely going to be some amazing development. So I came back to the States. I did a lot of research, and once I saw all the different projections as far as different industries that be using drones, I was hooked. The entrepreneur in me said this is absolutely something to get into. And I always say, I mean, we literally just dove headfirst. We didn't look back. We said there's something about this that just excited us at the time. And yeah, it's been 8 years, here, and we've been able to do all types of training and consultation. But it's really exciting to just be able to, yeah, give back and talk about what we do.
That's so cool. So tell us about Global Air Media. That's your company that you created like in 2015 then?
Yeah, yeah. So Global Air Media is our for-profit entity, and it's really the initial idea that we had, and really we didn't even think that we'd be on training and consultation. We were just wanting to provide services. So we wanted to be a service provider, going after real estate, construction, and now we've been able to segue. So our primary focus really revolves around equipping individuals, organizations with the skills, knowledge, and expertise to navigate the world of drones effectively. And when we look at different organizations that want to integrate drones but don't know where to start, how to get their staff trained, that's where we come in. And then also for our nonprofit, which is Global Air Drone Academy, we do youth programming and really give back to the next generation.
Awesome. So I think we have an image here. It looks like you training a whole bunch of people. That is so cool. So where are you guys actually located? I know you've got a presence in Nigeria, but in the United States, like where is your headquarters located?
Yeah, so we're based in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where our headquarters, is. And this picture is actually from Kyrgyzstan a few years ago with a project there. But yeah, we're based in Baltimore, and we have our humble roots. We bootstrap from the very beginning, but true to our name, Global Air Media. We've been now able to, branch out and do some really cool projects around the world.
Yeah, I love that. You're, just offhand. Oh yeah, by the way, that was, a little training session we did in Kyrgyzstan. I mean, who says that but you? I love it. So that is so cool. So you and over time you've grown a pretty significant team. on both sides of the pond, if you will, here in the United States as well in Nigeria. Tell us a little bit about your team.
Yeah, so my partner and co-founder, Austin Brown, he's a good friend and colleague, of course, of mine. We actually went to high school together. A lot of people met him in Vegas, as well for the Commercial Baby Conference. But yeah, we've been us two from the very beginning, with this idea and kind of a funny story how we came together. When I actually came back from Nigeria, after I initially heard, saw drones. I had, just been hanging out, with Austin as any kind of friends do, and he actually was flying drones as a hobby. And it was like a Sima, X5, one of those, beginner ones, and I actually flew it, and it crashed, it crashed into, something. So that was my introduction. But I said, wow, if you're into drones as a hobby, I have some entrepreneurial, experience. Let's put our ideas together and make something happen. So that was our kind of hook, and yeah, ever since we've been working together. So over the years we've been able to grow. We have marketing, sales, staff. Mainly we have trainers that go out and actually do our trainings, and it's not just in Baltimore. Of course, we can send out our trainers across the nation. And then on the other side in Nigeria, we were able to establish a staff there through the grant we received from the business competition. And yeah, it's been great to just provide opportunities, for the local community. And that was essentially always what I wanted to do. Not only, have an ability to go and do business in Nigeria, in Africa, but to help local youth and get that opportunity as well.
So, just to be clear, you have Global Air Media, right, which
Mhm.
is your original company, LLC, Limited Liability Corporation, and then you spawned off the Global Air Academy. Now, is that like a nonprofit that falls under the larger umbrella, or like, kind of loosely connected?
Exactly. Yeah. So Global Air Drone Academy, we sometimes refer to as GATA or GAM and GATA. So
Okay. Yemen
GATA
got
is yeah, GATA is our nonprofit. And yeah, so what happened with that is we had an opportunity to present at a local community organization in Baltimore. And this was actually literally days after the Freddie Gray incident, happened in Baltimore. There was up unrest, literally in the same neighborhood, and they
it.
called us to come in and say, "Hey, can you talk to the kids? Can you give them some activity that they can do to take their minds off of, what's been happening, over the past weeks and days?" So we brought our drones in, and it was such a hit. The news even came out and did an interview, but the kids, they just latched on and they really just kind of tied into not only just the fun of it, but when we were able to say, "Hey, this is STEM, right? This
Yeah.
is science, technology," and they were able to make that connection. And from there, the light bulb went off that this drone camp idea. We said they have camps for everything else. Why not drone camp? And what happened was we started to get so busy with the youth programming, it started to not interfere, but we were doing everything right. We still had the for profit, doing the real estate jobs and commercial, and then we were in the afternoons going out to deliver, a workshop. So it kind of got to be a lot. And as we teach a lot now, you have to niche down
Yeah.
to be successful. So we decided to split and have the nonprofit, do all the youth programming. Plus, that enables us to get more funding and programming for the programs that we need. And it's a perfect funnel, right? We call it the camp to career pipeline, so that we have students who are able to work through our programs and then eventually intern and then get sustainable jobs as well.
Well, first of all, I think it was a very smart move, to split off the nonprofit, from the for-profit. And I love that origin story, how, your community called it out to you to kind of help, ease tensions and kind of give kids hope. And that just like inspired you to create the nonprofit, which now is, as you said, is not just limited to Baltimore. You've got people all over the world, and you're going to Kyrgyzstan to inspire the next generation of pilots. So that's amazing. Um, I mean, I think I can answer this question already, but I'm going to ask it. What would you say sets, what you do at GAM or GATA apart from what others are doing in this space?
Yeah, so I think it's a few things. I mean, we've always been impact, focused, and yes, there's an opportunity to create, an entity that goes out and makes a lot of money and does what we do, love to fly drones. But we've always just been attracted to, yeah, how do we help the industry grow? And really, a reason that we decided to segue to training is simply because if more people don't understand how drones are used and what they are for, then how is the industry going to grow, right? So we felt that we could actually be sort of a catalyst for providing training, for preparing people, and just general public knowledge, right? Because I mean, the average person today probably still thinks drones are just for cool photos and videos. So
Or
we
worse than that, like all they're seeing are these images from Ukraine, right?
exactly, yeah,
Where they're just thinking, oh, drones are dropping bombs on people or,
exactly.
exploding tanks.
Yeah,
So, that's not something I want my kid to be involved in.
exactly. And I have a Google News alert set for drones, and 90% of the stories are bad. It's
Yeah.
all the use cases. So yeah, absolutely. That was a big part of it. How do we help change public perception, right? And this was kind of our way to do that.
Well, how do you do that? I mean, have you cracked that nut? Because I mean, that's something I talk to so many people about is like you and I are talking right now. The people watching us as we speak are probably people that either know us already or have already an interest in the drone industry, advanced air mobility. How have you figured out to branch beyond kind of that, I call it the FUBU mentality, the for us, by us, kind of media cycle, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I think first it's a deliberate, effort
Yeah.
to reach those who aren't in this bubble, in this circle. It's relating, to them. It's also about telling stories, right? I think that's a lot of something that um, a lot of the companies now in the industry are missing, right? When it comes to creating those compelling stories. I mean, we hear about drones, saving lives and finding missing persons, but there are plenty of other examples, right, of how simple advances in manufacturers and software is also doing the same. So I think drone companies need to do a deliberate effort to tell more stories. That's what people will relate to, and I think again that goes into the public perception, how we relate to folks, and then also it's starting young, right? The
Yeah.
next generation is very, very important. So if you see opportunities to support a drone program or to start maybe your own drone club, or look into someone who's providing that definitely are ways to, yeah, kind of break through that bubble per se.
I love everything you're saying. We actually had Tony Drummond from Titan Aviation. They're the sponsor this month,
Mhm.
writ large. And she just said, look, everybody can make a difference. If you're going to a conference, drag two interns with you or two students that like show them what the possibilities are, like that's so easy to do.
Yeah.
So I think I love that you've shaped a whole line of effort around it, but even for those companies that like are just in those trenches every day getting the job done, there's little ways that they can absolutely make a difference in people's lives. So I want to talk about your online training because you have pivoted to training. You've putting out a lot of content. So tell us a little bit about your online learning platform.
Yeah. So this really came as a result of um, being a little stagnant. I noticed, and I really just wanted to grow, figure out how to grow online. And I kind of felt like, everyone knows what they should do, of course, putting out more content, but it's always a question of how, right? And how to relate it. And a lot of the information that's out now when it comes to drones and just general drone business, a lot of it's just mainly focused on the flight, right? And how to become better technically, how to buy the best sensors, how to make sure that your operations are, but there's really nothing about marketing, sales, how to improve your funnel. And so I decided to do a deep dive on this and say, all right, this is information that a lot of drone pilots need. This, if I don't know how to do this, I know that a lot of my other colleagues, are kind of behind on this. Plus the fact that a lot of us come from a technical background, like we didn't go to school for marketing, or sales, right? And so
Right.
we know what we and I noticed that, there's a lot of just kind of random acts of marketing, as we say, just kind of coach just throwing here with no, angle or goal. So I said there has to be a way to help drone companies market better. And again, niching down, I said, we can go out and create a platform that covers a wide range of topics, but what's really needed is that business knowledge. So we have a platform now. It's actually Global Air University, which is under GAM, our for-profit,
Okay.
and it's specifically for drone business knowledge. So we always say it's what happens after the 107. So all that, sales knowledge, how to, do outreach, how to create an email, marketing list, how to create better content on LinkedIn. That's what we want to focus on to help, entrepreneurs and other drone business owners.
That's like invaluable life stuff. I don't care who you are, honestly. I mean, definitely for entrepreneurs. And not many people are kind of putting out that type of meaningful content. So I agree. It is one thing to have the technical skills, and that's absolutely necessary. But it's those soft skills, it's the people skills too. How do you make that sale? How do you explain what you do to people? Or as you said, tell that story. Totally agree 100%. I love what you're doing. I think it is so important for businesses, right? It's funny because my son, actually, he's still in college. He's going to graduate in May. Different field, but entrepreneur, started his own LLC already, and telling that story on his website and out on Instagram. It's physical medicine what he's doing, but the
Yeah.
concepts that you're putting out are not just for technical people; it's for any business
Yeah.
person. And I saw you had actually a LinkedIn event recently. It was like in the last month. What was
Yeah.
that one about? Just give the example.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a LinkedIn Live that I did with Kat James. Everyone has seen the drones for good hashtag. Shout out to Kat. So we've actually partnered to do a workshop, a cohort to help drone business owners improve their LinkedIn visibility. So this comes with building your personal brand. This comes with having a optimized profile, your banner, your headshot, and just making sure that when people come to your profile, right, they have the information that they need. Your profile now is is the new resume, right? So that's what people are making judgments on when they come and they see you, like or comment on the post. They're going to click and see, all right, what is this person about? What are they doing? So if you don't have that pertinent information there, it's also part of your funnel as well, right? So this is not just some kind of some random picture you just throw up and just forget about it. There are specific steps, when it comes to growing, on LinkedIn. I think another thing that we're trying to tackle is getting out of this cycle of not being able to get new clients, right? So you have your old clients that you've worked with, and they continue to call you, and you can get comfortable, right, in that
Yeah.
space, but if you want to grow, right, if you want to be able to market your services, you have to be again deliberate, with your actions. So yeah, that's what the LinkedIn is about. Giving specific, step by step walkthrough of how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to create a really good post, and not the generic, hey, look at our new update, but hey, this is value that you can take away. I'm trying to establish my authority and just teach, and provide value at the end of the day. So that's the idea around it.
You and I could talk about this forever. And by the way, this isn't just for new entrepreneurs. This is for everyone because I had a group hire me to write some press releases of maybe they're new cohort members, let's just call them that. And, I was giving very minimal information. So what do? You go to their website, which by the way is a whole different lecture, right? You
Mhm.
go to their LinkedIn profile. And some of them I'm like, this said like I can't write a 500 word press release even for this because it's like, what are you even saying about yourself?
Yeah.
Uh, so, I totally agree. Very, very important stuff
Mhm.
that you are doing. And this is not, again, young to let's just say experienced. I don't like using the word old because that's me, and I don't like to admit that to myself.
Nah, nah,
But so you're doing all of these things. You have the online presence, but you're also doing in person. So tell us a little bit about kind of the in person offerings that you guys are putting out to advance the future of flight.
yeah, definitely. So, of course, it's a very technical industry. So, we can never eliminate the need for in person. I think everything we're doing on the business side, of course, can be done online through courses. But yeah, when it comes to the technical side of things, we still have trainings that we do now. We tend to focus on specialty areas. So again, it's what happens after the Part 107. We do have our basic, training and um, 107 kind of free training that we put out there. But, if you're going into agriculture, if you're going into, oil and gas, excuse me,
Oh gosh, yeah.
excuse me, thermal monitoring as well. I mean, those are really specific areas that you have to have knowledge in. So, um, that's also, under the global air media aspect. And another thing that we're looking into is, hands-on training with stakeholders, right? Because in order to have this full integration, we've done a lot of trainings for, let's say, non-decision makers at some of these organizations, some of the lower level, staff that, yes, it's kind of a sensitization, training, but they're not making decisions. So we want to kind of focus on how do we target those individuals. Like, yes, you're not going to be flying the drones around, but you have to be knowledgeable, right? This isn't something
Yeah.
you just, put off to, some of the lower level staff. So that's what we're focused on, particularly in Nigeria when it comes to how the government is relating to drones and how they're treating it out, and yeah, how to really make sure they understand the value of it as well. So that, yeah, for things like that, you have to be on ground providing training for sure.
So tell- these classes are worldwide. You just mentioned Nigeria, and you obviously have a group there. You talked about Kyrgyzstan very briefly, but like where else are you doing this from? Kind of the worker bee level to that government slash leadership level. Where else?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate to take advantage of the resources that the U.S. government has, and the U.S. State Department has specific programs like the Gold Key program that can connect us with decision makers, right, in these various countries. So if we say, hey, we want to go to Zambia, can you connect us to individuals maybe in the Ministry of Mining or education, really wherever our target is, we can ask the embassy on ground, the U.S. embassy there, to make an introduction on our behalf. And if that organization is interested, they'll set up a meeting for us. So this is something available to every American company, as long as you are, in business and legally registered and have all the paperwork. You can request for this type of service. So that's one way to use for commercial, but then we've also been able to work with the State Department with our nonprofit and the Public Affairs Office, which is in each embassy. They have grant funding for STEM and for other types of, women empowerment, programs and just general youth. So we apply for these grants just like anyone else would apply, and from those we've been able to, yes, go to some really awesome countries. I mentioned the Kyrgyzstan and even Turkmenistan. That was one I couldn't even spell
Wow.
before that email. We've done UAE, Kenya, Zambia, Tanzania, of course Nigeria, the UK, as well. So it is really, really cool to be able to take this drone knowledge and kind of be an ambassador
Yeah, a global ambassador for sure.
U.S. companies and yeah, be able to take it out there. So it's really really cool opportunity.
That is amazing. And by the way, you mentioned kind of grant money, and for those that missed our Law Tech Connect online Show Me the Money panel, there was a little bit of discussion about grants that was yesterday. You can go back to my website and register, and it's a private link, but if you register, you go right to it. So check that out. Eno's dropping some great tips here about where to find money and how to get yourself out there globally. That is incredible, what you've been able to do. And as a result, your company in very short order became an award-winning company. So tell us a little bit about the African Drone Forum and kind of the monetary award and some of the other awards you guys have received.
Yeah, so just a quick story on that. We were actually exhibiting at the it was a drone expo actually in the UK, and funny enough, for that participation, we were able to participate for free because of our nonprofit status. And I literally flew there. I said something is good is going to come out of this. And while we were there, someone from the African Drone Forum, came to our booth and they said, "Hey, we have a competition, coming up, and you guys should apply." I was talking about our work in Nigeria that we had done previously, and she said that we'd be good candidates for that. And to be honest, when I first applied, I kind of knew we had a good shot to win because, as I mentioned before, a lot of companies are so focused on the commercial side and how to help their company. No one's focused on the training, right, and how we actually empower this generation. So I said there's probably not going to be a whole lot of drone training companies that apply for this.
Yeah.
And with our track record and what we've been able to do, I was like, we have a pretty good shot, winning. But hey, it was still something we had to apply for. But yeah, lo and behold, we were selected in the top 10. It was a really really amazing experience, and this was sponsored by like UNICEF and the World Bank. So they were able to fly in 10 different organizations, drone companies. So some of my colleagues I still are in touch with today from South Africa and Tanzania, and we've been able to do projects outside of this already. But yeah, we were able to win the competition. It was a really amazing experience. They gave us some seed funding. It was about 20,000 pounds, and we were able to use that to set up our office in Lagos, Nigeria. So I've been able to actually move there full time 2020, and now I'm more 50-50 between Lagos and the States. But yeah, it's been a great opportunity to actually establish something on ground, hire local staff. As you can, one of the pictures that will show up, and you can see my staff. They're younger than me, right? So they're able to kind of get that experience and be able to kind of grow, from there. So
Yeah, that is amazing, and we did have that picture. I don't know if we can, like, pop that one back up, but, while you're there we are. There's your Lagos, Nigeria team, right? That you hired.
yeah,
So cool.
yeah,
So, we're not gonna have time to, like, deep dive into, all the different programs and all the I'm just curious, though, because I know there's a lot of drone pilots that watch this show.
yeah,
What drones are you primarily using in these training programs? Because you're training, as you said, little kids, and we just had Dr. Laquata Sumter on here last month.
yeah,
It's very different teaching kids than it is teaching, for example, that group you showed in Kyrgyzstan, which has a whole nother layer of complexity when it's, English as a second language or teaching in a foreign environment. What, are you using different drones, or do you have like kind of a staple that you go to? And how are you taking donations? How does all this work?
yeah. So there's various drones, that we use. Of course, it depends on the use case. So if we're talking about coding and programming, then of course we're likely going to go with the Tello, something that's easy, ready to go. You can use drone blocks as well to just make it an engaging experience. We've also partnered with Skydio before to do training, and they support our high school programs. They've actually also donated to a business competition that we organized and ran in Kenya. early this year. So they've been some really cool partners, for that. So yeah, it's a mix, Skydio, DJI, but again, I think it really just depends on the use case. We tend not to do a lot of, payload or fixed wing. It's mainly a multi-rotor kind of basic training, and then a lot of what we like to do as well is maintenance and repair, and that's actually another business that I really feel is untapped.
It really is. I mean, that's the only ones I know that are deep into this, you don't hear a lot about, and I hope to get on the show next year.
Yeah,
Alaris Pro.
yeah,
They
yeah.
built their entire business around maintenance and repair.
Oh
And
yeah,
to my understanding,
definitely.
you know, um,
Yeah,
not a lot of other companies doing this, but when you think
yeah.
about the need for it, it's almost like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is. And again, getting back to the niching down is something that we tried to do, but we were trying to do it amongst 6, 7 other things, so it just
Yeah.
never. But it's absolutely a business that you can, do. And another thing is in these some of these remote, countries, there is no DJI, getting back in 2 to 3 weeks, right? You have to figure it out or have the parts, there. So if you're someone there who has the parts, on ground, can easily manage these thousands of drones that are likely flying in your country already, yeah, you could be the go-to person for that. So yeah, so many opportunities, in that space.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And while you're doing all of this training worldwide, you're still doing real world operations. And I mean, that's how you started the business, frankly. And it's something I guess you keep the knife sharp, if you will, right? By going out there and doing things. I think we have a really cool picture of what you did during the Rohingya refugee crisis. Tell us a little bit about this and some of the work that you've been doing globally as well.
Yeah, so this is, another really cool story of just opportunity and just an email that came through and said, "Hey, we're going to be going to a refugee camp with, over 250,000 refugees. Would you be able to come and help us provide coverage?" So when I get emails like that, I automatically say yes. It's no kind of, thinking and all this. It's the thrill, it's the opportunity, it's the use case, right? It's just something that's never kind of been done before. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Bangladesh to fly drones, right? I mean, it just sounds such like a cool, project. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I got on ground, and the organization I was with there called Global Outreach Doctors, and they are sort of like a Doctors Without Borders. They're on ground for a lot of these natural disasters, and I was a part of their like drone team that would go out to some of these missions and primarily just take good footage. Get an idea of what the lay of the land is, some mapping involved as well. But in this particular project, I was mapping out these vast, refugee camps, and this was, they were placed on very mountainous, areas, not any type of, designated or flat land. I mean, this was just kind of just dumping, hundreds of thousands of people at the same time. So
Oh my
not only
gosh.
is it just, yeah, I mean, just a very impactful, scene to see, but drones, being used in that scenario was able to at least provide some real-time maps so they can know, all right, this is where we can put, new shelters. This is maybe where some, hazardous conditions are. And there's just no way you have the imagery from Google Maps, which, is out of date by a few years, right? So in a scenario like that where things are changing every day, yeah, I would literally go out and I wouldn't have any service. I was using drone deploy. So I was, trying to use a cloud-based, software. So I would have to take the imagery, go back to the hotel, run the map, send it to the, first responders and do the same thing, for a few days on the road. But yeah, it was really awesome experience. I mean, I would say just being resourceful, just being in the field and not having that cell signal all the time and only having 3 batteries, per day and having to ration it out. I mean, it was a character building experience, I'll say for
I'm,
sure.
I'm sure, like, not only this, but the other stories you could tell. I mean, you are writing a book at some point, correct?
Yeah, that's the that's the plan. Yeah, one of
Oh,
these
I
days.
knew it because I'm just listening to you, and I'm like, this wealth of knowledge has to be captured, and beyond like, specific training classes or a LinkedIn post or something like this. Um,
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I've got a note here to ask you about Drone Consultants Digest. Like, what is this thing?
Yeah, yeah. So, there was some messaging, that I started to, put out a few months ago, and really when it comes to the designation of the drone profession, I feel like a lot of times we just talk about the drone pilot, right?
Mhm.
Whereas there's someone like, myself, more of a drone consultant, where it's actually funny. I mean, we do some commercial operations still, but it's actually not an everyday thing, right? So it can be weeks, that I go without even touching a drone. And
Mm.
as a drone consultant, I'm still able to make money from drones on a daily basis, right? So that ability to have systems in place and have a product or service that you can offer that doesn't require you to fly, I felt like, there was no distinction. And again, after the Part 107, what's next, right? What is a drone consultant? Who defines what a drone consultant is? And so I started to look around. I said, wow, like there's no groups for drone consultants. There's no kind of like association. And I'm
Drone
sure there's some
Consultants
stuff.
Anonymous. What's our 12-step program?
Yeah, exactly. Where
Yeah.
are they? I know they are here. And just for me, I always look for, all right, what's branded, what's not branded. And yeah, I just did a Google search for drone consultants, didn't really find anything. And it was at that time I said, all right, it'd be cool to have a newsletter, right? That just talks about industry news, kind of updates, give people a weekly idea what's going on. Not sure when this is coming out, but it comes out on Thursdays. And yeah, we kind of do a mashup of news for the week. We also provide global drone tenders. So we scour the web for different bid opportunities come out. It could be from Cambodia, it could be from Mauritius. I mean, they're literally all over the place. So we kind of curate these opportunities, and yeah, we want to be very resource driven, very value based. So we've gotten some really good feedback, and yeah, you can find it on my LinkedIn, or you can subscribe, right on our website.
Is that a free subscription, or do folks have to pay for that service?
Yeah, totally, totally free. At
Oh,
some point, we'll think about a paid subscription model, but honestly, we're in the value season. We're just trying to give away as much as possible, and then we'll worry about everything else on the back end.
yeah, I
So
think so many, kind of media companies like essentially that you are, uh, they'll have like a sponsor, for
yeah,
the newsletter in general. Like you see, it's like a
exactly.
droning company. I mean, I right now I have my own newsletter. I'm glad I don't conflict with yours. Mine comes out on Tuesday. I'm signing up for yours, by the way.
Thanks.
But I get so many. I get the droning company, of course. I get News Life,
Yeah,
or Drone Life. I get Breaking Defense. I get a lot of military ones because I'm very, Inside Unmanned, of course, because I write for them.
mhm,
I think the more you can expose your brain to, even if it's like a 5-second scan of like, oh, that's one I want to read later, or
yeah,
I didn't know that that just happened. I
exactly.
think just the more use the word professional, and I think, let's talk for a second about some of the drone shows, because you had a little note in here to talk about that too. What
Yeah,
I've seen, and I think you would agree, as we walk around these shows lately, is an uptick in the level of professionalism,
yeah,
an uptick in the level of collaboration, not just like a solo booth, but like, 2, 3 companies in a booth, because there will be no lone wolves that survive in this
yeah,
industry. Like, you have to partner. And,
absolutely.
so as you've been walking around, we're getting very close to the end of your show, which is insane.
Mm.
What are you seeing as the big trends, as you kind of look around these shows, as you scour, as you say, these various opportunities, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about this, kind of my takeaways, at least specifically for CUAV, but yeah, I mean, top of mind is like you said, the collaboration. I think when you look at other industries, I was talking to someone about this yesterday, and I don't think you see this level of camaraderie and collaboration, right? Usually, it's like who's vying for the number one spot.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't even number one in what? Like I don't even know what we'll be fighting for, right? So the we're all kind of rising together. In to walk around and see very specific use cases, right? And I mean, something I didn't even realize, Watts Innovation, which is, right from our hometown in Baltimore. I actually went to high school. I was the 2 years ahead of Bobby at Gilman, but we were, yeah, able to hear that they're working with Drone Up, to provide, there. So it's really amazing to hear, some of these collaborations and then all the other companies, the battery companies, Propeller. So there's so much to work off of. And yeah, it's just kind of energy, right? I think you could even see just from walking in there. It's not it's really, yeah, just a really open kind of atmosphere. Really I kind of feel like it's a family kind of just meeting up at these events now. It's not just like, coming to just do business. It's like, hey, let's talk, let's connect. I really enjoyed your opening event that you did. That was awesome. And
And
your talk as
I
well.
I was gonna say shout out to Kirasoft. When you think
Yeah.
about this company, but they sponsored the third annual Flash Mob Networking Happy Hour, which is what Eno's referring to. That company traditionally has been, IT reseller, right? Government aggregator, and obviously cybersecurity, IT. Then they had a huge geometrics, photogrammetry line of effort, and I've been working with them for the last 2.5 years on what has now evolved into this autonomy robotics effort. And a perfect example of the collaboration we had, what Airgility, Zeo Air, Auterion, and Airworks in their booth. Uh,
Mm.
so I mean, absolutely. We have like 2 minutes left,
Okay.
and I'm getting the hook from Mike behind the scenes here, who's telling me we got to close on time. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you the floor for the last couple minutes here to say whatever we miss, whatever you want to get out there, and also don't forget to tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I think from where I am in my journey right now, 8 years in, it's yeah, it's the training element. It's let's think about how we are empowering the next generation to take advantage, of this tremendous technology, the applications that we don't even know about yet. We always tell our kids, we're preparing you for the jobs that have not been created yet. So staying ahead of the game is very important. On the business side, embrace a change, embrace innovation, especially when it comes to marketing, when it comes to creating content. That is really the only way that your business, is going to grow. So we really enjoy and love working with drone companies when it comes to kind of opening their mind when it comes to the opportunities out there and really understanding what it's like to work on and not in your business and to really feel that you are getting back your time and really doing what you want to do, which is fly drones and have a really good awesome life. So yeah, thank you again for the opportunity. Find us on globalair.u.com. You can follow me on LinkedIn as well, NO on LinkedIn. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with everyone. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was literally an around the world with Umoh, and so great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Everybody, we are out here.